Diablo 4 comes out tomorrow. And of course, we are going to start on Necromancer. And in this video, I'm going to give you guys what I believe to be the best way to level up as fast as possible. No time to waste here. Let's get into it. For you guys that are new to the channel, I am Lord Fluffy. I have been playing a Necromancer since Diablo 2, and I've come out with, tons of guides on Diablo 3 Necromancer, and I plan to do the exact same thing for the Diablo 4 Necromancer. So stick around if you guys are into Necromancer content. Now, the purpose of this video is to sort of just zerg to level 45 to 50 as fast as you possibly can. So the plan is to literally just power through the campaign, make sure to do your class quests along the way. But really our goal is just to smear the campaign, get to the world tree stuff, and just get yourself ready for world tier 3 as just fast as you possibly can. Because that's what it's all about, getting to the next tier. Also, the NDA got lifted, like 24 hours ago. I did not play the endgame beta, but with it came a wealth of information. We could see what's performing, what's not performing, what's nerfed, what's not nerfed, etc. And we're starting to see a lot of, build guides come out, leveling guides and stuff like that. What I'm seeing a lot is people suggesting you sacrifice your minions while you level. Never do this, team. Minions in Diablo 4 are just good. It's free damage. The utility is just unmeasurable. So at least 1 through 50, use minions. Just use minions, period. People are going to say, oh, play Bone Spear and sacrifice minions for, 5% more crit. Not going to be worth it at all. Don't do it. Keep your minions. That's what I'm going to suggest. Regardless of whether you follow this build or any other build guide, keep your minions 1 through 50, period. So poof, you load into the game. We're going to choose Bone Splinters as our essence generator. Later on, that choice will become obvious. Level 2, we're going to go ahead and enhance Bone Splinters. So you fire 2 additional. And then at level 3, we get to choose our core skill. Now, if you're asking me, the clear winners here are Sever and Blight, but we're going to choose Blight. And again, this whole guide is contingent upon, we're not expecting to get any legendaries as we level. This is the stuff that's just going to perform. It's just flat going to perform. A lot of people are going to tell you to choose Bone Spear here. I don't like Bone skills because a lot of the Bone skill stuff relies on your essence pool. A lot of the Bone skill stuff relies on crit, and neither of those things are going to be things you're gearing towards along the way. I think, without question, Shadow Blight will be the way to go. Shadow damage will be the way to go while leveling because it's just more damage. You don't need any stats to get that more damage. It's just flat more damage. So we're going to go Shadow Blight. But for starting out, I'm going to choose Blight. Sever we'll pick up later on. Once you get more minions, you can start to spec out Supernatural Sever. If you get like 6, 7 minions, this is really going to start to get juice. But I like Blight, and Blight will just be more damage, and you'll see exactly why. Of course, the downside of Blight being that we need enemies to sort of stay still, but they pretty much do for the most part, especially early on. Level 4, you're going to get Blight slows enemy by 25%, and you'll understand why on that a bit later. Level 5, we're going to pick up Supernatural Blight. You and your minions deal 15% increased damage to enemies with Blight. So we're spamming Blight. We're having those pools on the ground. So both us and our minions are going to be doing 50% more damage to enemies within those pools of Blight, and they're pretty much going to be up all the time. So this is just flat good. Level 6, we're going to come back to the generator, and we're going to pick up the chance for Bone Splinters to inflict vulnerable. This will be the only way to inflict vulnerable for a while. And again, if you guys don't know what vulnerable is, it's just 20% more damage. So especially versus single target, this will be quite a reliable way of proccing a vulnerable on bosses. And early on, you will be casting your generator quite a bit. After that, we're going to come down here and we're going to spec into Corpse Explosion. And then Enhanced Corpse Explosion, and then finally Blighted Corpse Explosion. I do like the shadow damage over time here instead of the Plague Corpse Explosion because enemies do move around just a little bit. And what Blighted Corpse Explosion does is leaves this sort of AoE circle on the ground that will damage enemies over time. And if you just miss an enemy with the Corpse Explosion, you sort of just miss that damage. Whereas the Blighted Corpse Explosion, enemies will walk into that shadow damage over time. It's just more consistent damage. And again, you're going to, between you, the minions, and the Corpse Explosions and the pools of Blight, you're just going to be dotting enemies down like crazy. After this, it's up to you. If you feel like your Skeletal Warriors are just dying all the time, you might want to pick up some points in Skeletal Warrior Mastery. For me, this wasn't a problem at all, and I want to spend my corpses on Corpse Explosion. So you're going to start juicing at Corpse Explosion, you're going to start juicing at Blight, get these all the way up until level 18. But level 18, you're going to have Corpse Explosion pretty much max. You'll be 1 point shy of maxing Blight. And here's where you can sort of make a choice. Corpse Tendrils is good. I wouldn't recommend picking up Corpse Tendrils unless you have the aspect of the Umbral. Aspect of the Umbral is a codex of power, so you'll just get it from running the Champion's Demise inside the Dry Steppes. I don't know what part in the campaign that's going to happen. So if this is easy to get, yeah, it might be worth it. But I wouldn't pick up Corpse Tendrils at all unless you have this aspect. But basically what that does is, so say you spend all of your essence on Blight, you'll be able to cast Aspect of the Umbral combined with Corpse Tendrils, and that will suck everything in and stun everything. And everything that gets stunned will give you resource, and so you can like basically get all your resource back for free. However, to me, because you're just sort of zerging through the campaign as fast as you can, you're moving from pack to pack to pack, the pace is very fast. So a skill like Corpse Tendrils sort of loses utility, in my opinion. It is 11-second cooldown. But again, if you have the Aspect of the Umbral, it's going to be really nice combined with the 100% chance to apply Vulnerable for 3 seconds if you invest 3 points in it. But if you're asking me, I would immediately spec into Reaper's Pursuit, go full rank 3 Gloom, and then go full rank 3 Terror. And again, since Blight slows everything, we pick that enhanced Blight back here. We're going to get the tier 1 juice of the darkness skills from Terror, and Gloom's just like more damage, period. Early on, you want to be getting the additional skeletal skirmisher until you can get the Reapers. I don't know what level this happens, unfortunately, because again, I didn't write that down. But eventually you're going to want to get the Reaper tier 2, the 15% chance to carve a corpse off an enemy. Shadow mages are the first mages you get, so as soon as you can get the shadow mages, give them that 10% chance to apply a stun for 2 seconds, because that will combinate with your Terror to give you that triple damage. We're also going to put 1 point into Crippling Darkness. That'll just give all the darkness stuff we have a 15% chance to stun for 1 second. That chance to stun doesn't go up, just the duration goes up. So 1 point's fine. At this point, there's quite a few things you could do. You could pick up Army of the Dead and pick up the chance to leave behind a corpse rune. This can give some more corpse generation against bosses, but it's a 90-second cooldown. And again, I just don't like big cooldowns. So for me, I'm going to start speccing, Unliving Energy, getting perfectly imbalanced to rank 3, which is just 15% more damage to Blight. I'll max out Blight as well. Also pick up Death's Embrace rank 3, 6% more damage taken from enemies near you and 9% less damage taken to you, which is just flat good. Also pick up, Point in Grim Harvest, a Point in Fueled by Death, which is just more damage after consuming a corpse. So we're just specking more damage here. And again, at these levels, it's up to you. If your warriors are dying all the time, pick up Skeletal Warrior Mastery. If your mages are dying a lot, you can pick up some Skeletal Mage Mastery. But right now, we're just picking more damage for us and our minions. But the most important thing, at level 35, we get access to Shadow Blight. And again, I think this is a clear winner because these other things are, like you need overpower stuff with sort of the blood skills. You sort of need to avoid damage for the minion stuff to really get maximum juice. And again, you need essence and crit for bone to really pop off. And with the shadow stuff, it's just more damage, period. It's 10% more damage for you and your minions. And every 10th time an enemy receives shadow damage from you, you just get 20% additional weapon damage proc. So that's just flat good. And of course, at this point, you should be really focusing on having a 2-hand weapon. This will make the most of your Shadow Blight. And you won't be applying a ton of codexes of power to your gear while you're just sort of zerging through the campaign. Just keep upgrading 2-hand weapons. Don't invest anything into your weapons. You're just going to be upgrading them all the time. But having a nice 2-hand juicy weapon will make the most of Shadow Blight. At this point, we have everything we need to sort of make the build pop off. We're just going to be specking for more damage after this. So we're going to come back up top. We're probably going to fully spec out Fueled by Death, rank 3. For more consistent bosses and single target damage, we're going to spec out Hued Flesh to give us that 12% chance to just create a corpse, and it's doubled on bosses. And after this, I would sort of play by ear. Like if your mages are dying a lot, spec out the Skeletal Mage Mastery. If your warriors are dying a lot, give them Warrior Mastery. If your golem's dying a lot, give it the Golem Mastery. But start specking those. Starting out with the Skeletal Mages because they are doing shadow damage. Those are the most important minions that you have. And really, your Golem should be surviving quite a bit of damage. Once you unlock the Golem, you can take the Blood Golem, shedding a corpse to 20% of life taken. That's probably not going to happen a lot unless it's on bosses, which is a good thing. Corpses are good. Then I'd probably go to Blood Golem, absorbing 50% damage you would take. I don't know how necessary that will be while leveling, because I think leveling will be pretty easy. Until finally, you can get the Iron Golem with him giving a chance to stun. And then eventually, you can have him make targets vulnerable. And vulnerable, again, is just 20% more damage, so it's good. So at level 44, for me, I would maybe start investing into Skeletal Warrior Mastery. At this point, we're probably going to be done with the campaign based on what I've read and what I've seen. So we're going to just spec out the minions a little bit more, maybe get the Golem damage up. At level 50, you'll be able to do the Capstone Dungeon. You should be able to do the Capstone Dungeon. I know that you can do the Capstone Dungeon early, so I would say like if you're a skilled player, you could probably start at level 45. That's what I plan to do. Because again, the goal here is just to rush World Tier 3 as fast as you possibly can. It's just better gear. Sacred gear will start dropping. So as soon as you can get into the next tier, do it. One really, really important thing to note with this build, as soon as you can get this, because again, I didn't play the in-game campaign. I've never played anything outside the beta. But as soon as we can do this Akan's Grass Dungeon and Howitzer, however you say that, and get the Blighted Aspect Codex, get it. This will be just way more damage. And you'll want to craft this on your amulet. You won't want to craft this on your weapon because again, we're going to be upgrading the weapon like all the time. So you're going to be just wasting a ton of mats constantly upgrading your weapon to a legendary. Don't do that. Put it on it like an amulet and just leave it there. Something that's like an amulet with like +1 skills. It'd probably be pretty easy to get. Another aspect to look out for, that's aspect of reanimation. Your skeletals gain increased damage while they're alive up to 30% after 10 seconds. You get this from Alderwood and Scosglen. Again, just more damage you can get along the way. Edge Master's Aspect, also going to be just a flat damage regardless of the build you're playing. Really, skills up to 20% damage based on the primary resource you have when cast. So this will juice up all forms of damage. And you get this from Old Stones in Scosglen. Aspect of Intercom can be okay. Increased damage while you stand still up to 30%. You can get this from Wraithwelds in Scosglen. Also, Hulking Aspect is a sort of resource codex. It comes from the Sepulture of Forsworn and Kedgistan. It'll just make your golem have a chance to shed more corpses, which is just good. As far as gems are concerned, you're just going to be putting an amethyst if you get weapons. I wouldn't like go out of your way to put a socket in your weapon, but if you get sockets in your weapon, make sure to put an amethyst. It's just more damage over time. For armor, I would put a ruby. It's just more life. It's not a ton of things you're going to have to worry about while leveling. And for jewelry, a diamond, all res. Pretty easy choice. The gems are kind of meh in this game. But that to me is going to be the fastest way to get to 50. Again, at 50, you're going to start having to like make an actual build. 50 through 70, you're actually going to need a good build to put together. And then you can start worrying about stuff like that and getting, legendaries or whatever. But getting to World Tier 3 as fast as you can is the big deal here. Again, that opens up sacred items, and sacred items are just going to be better. Do come hang out in the stream. We'll be streaming all weekend, all next week, getting to the tippy top of the mountain of the Necromancer as fast as humanly possible. So if you guys are into the Necromancer and Diablo 4, definitely drop a like, definitely drop a subscribe to this channel, and expect more content on the way. But until next time, boys, stay fluffy. Peace out.